coming up this afternoon. What's your business as a debt distress company to be donating to the police? That's the minority in parliament taking on ECG over its donation of 200 motorbikes to the Ghana Police Service. We have details as former Power Minister calls for investigation into the donation, arguing it could be procurement driven. Also this afternoon, using our IGs to pay our own electricity bills is unrealistic. Implementation of policy will affect our operations. That's a reaction coming from a Ghana Health Service official as minority in Parliament pushes for the immediate reversal of a new government directive demanding public hospitals to pay the electricity bills using their internally generated funds. We'll hear from the director of the Fiankwanta Hospital. Plus, this afternoon in politics, John Mahama is begging ECG against rigging the elections in 2024. More from his Building Ghana tour in the Ashanti region as we touch base with our colleague who's been following the team for us. And later, friends and families of late astute lawyer Akoto Ampaw relive memories of his life as some describe him as a man of principle and diligence who lived for the good of others. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X Spaces via Joy News on TV. My personal handle is @Nana Aisha. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. This afternoon, the minority is taking on the Electricity Company of Ghana for donating 200 motorbikes to the Ghana Police Service. The NDC MP say they cannot fathom why a debt-ridden institution like the ECG will be seeking to take over the responsibilities of the state when they cannot even pay their debts to IPPs to keep the lights on. According to former Power Minister and member of the Mines and Energy Committee, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, ECG's conduct is the height of irresponsibility.
I read with shock yesterday that the Electricity Company of Ghana had donated 200 motorbikes to Ghana Police Service. Ordinarily, any such donation would have attracted my applause. But with this particular donation, ECG has no business taking over the responsibility of the state to provide logistics for Ghana Police. ECG is in debt to the tune of billions of cedis. Indeed, 2 weeks ago,
Apologies for the breaking sound, but I've been joined by Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante, who will be telling us more. Kweku, what's the basis for Dr. Kwabena Donkor wanting investigation and also claiming there could be corruption somewhere?
Yes, according to Kwabena Donkor, if you look at an organization like the Electricity Company of Ghana, which has been making significant losses over the last few years, it does not make sense for the ECG to go ahead and donate 200 motorbikes to the Ghana Police Service. He says that is the job of the state, not that of the Electricity Company of Ghana, which has been making significant losses over the last few years. And so he wants an investigation into this. He believes one of the reasons that might have pushed the Electricity Company of Ghana, its management and board, to go ahead and do this will be because of procurement benefit that some people will get, and that some people will be interested in making some money from the procurement of these motorbikes for onward distribution to the Ghana Police Service. And they believe that the Energy Ministry, together with the Ministry for Public Enterprise, must really be willing to look into this so that state enterprises like the ECG, which are making significant losses, will not spend money doing things that is completely not in their domain.
What else is on the other paper for the House to consider today, Kweku?
Well, Aisha, the Parliament of Ghana will continue the approval of the various estimates for the MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. We also expect that the anti-gay bill may come up for discussion. Yesterday, there was just a brief discussion on the anti-gay bill because the chairman, the ranking member, the majority leader were all not on the floor at the time this was taken. The decision was to stand down some of the decisions for later, but they did not come back to it. We expect that they will get back to it on that. It's past 12, the sitting hasn't started, and we understand because committees are sitting to finalize their work on the respective estimates so that they can present their reports to the floor for a vote.
Kwekwa Sante is our parliamentary affairs correspondent. We'll bring you more from Parliament when all of these happen in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, an official of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Joseph Obing, says the move to get public hospitals to use the internally generated funds to pay the electricity bills is unrealistic. The medical superintendent of the Ifeanyi Nkwanta Hospital, Dr. Joseph Bambil, explained the public health facilities are already overwhelmed with a myriad of challenges which are affecting their daily operations. Taxing them to pay their own electricity bills will only compound their problems. We'll be hearing from him shortly, but first, let's hear MP for Tyne Adama Suleimana, who delivered a statement after the major hospital in his constituency was disconnected due to its indebtedness to the tune of 7 million cedis.
The operations theatre that directly that is directly connected to the central air conditioning system, without which there is practically no aeration within. The suggestion to put up a split air conditioning system will also lead to loss of luminal or unidirectional airflow in the theatre. Mr. Speaker, due to the latest disconnection, the following is the current state of the hospital. All surgeries have been put on hold and have been referred to the Methodist Hospital in Wenchi. All referrals to the facility are also being directed to nearby district hospitals. The Light Wave Health Information Management System for seeing patients and prescribing can be used. Thus, patients are being seen on sheets of papers without access to their medical history and equipment. Water pumps within the facility is totally dependent on electricity and shut down within 30 minutes of an outage. Thus, taps are currently running dry in the facility. Communication systems are all linked to electricity, which have also been shut down. Mr. Speaker, I am by this statement calling on you and the House to urge government to take up the over 7 million Ghana cedis bill cost of electricity to help maintain this modern facility, serving the good people of Tyne and Bana districts. These districts are considered deprived and can't in any way take up the full cost of operating this facility.
Well, speaking to Joy News this morning, Dr. Joseph Bambil said implementing the directive will worsen the woes of the public hospitals.
NHI tariff and the directive that we should not charge anything out of pocket. There's no way any hospital in this country can pay for electricity bills. It's just not possible. As things stand, the NHI tariffs are so low that we can't even break even. And if you would avert your attention to this, for a common procedure like cesarean section, if you look at the market, the private facilities are taking between 8,000 and about 20,000. NHI pays us between 600 and 800 cedis for one cesarean section. So you can see the gulf in the differentials. But we operate in the same market. We purchase the consumables from the same suppliers. And they don't give us any subsidy because we are public facilities. And yet we are supposed to be charging so low while others are charging so high. So it comes to reason that the public and private can't pay the electricity bill, but there's no way any public hospital in this country can pay the current electricity bill ranges that we are experiencing.
You heard there Joseph Tambell, who is medical superintendent at the Fiankwanta Hospital. Let's stay a bit longer on this issue because I've been joined by Cecilia Seno, who is board member of the Global Fund and CEO of Hope for Future Generation. Grateful for your time, Madam Cecilia. How does news of hospitals having to pay for their own electricity bills through internally generated funds come across to you?
Thank you very much, Aisha. Good afternoon to you and your listeners. Listening to this discussion and for Ghana to achieve universal health coverage, and listening to the previous speaker, it will be difficult for public hospitals to pay their electricity bill through internally generated fund. The reason is that, one, if that is what will happen, that will mean that the patients, the clients, will be at the receiving end. Quality health services cannot be delivered because of this challenge. I don't know how much the hospitals actually generate from that, but I'm aware that a lot of cashier workers and other people always benefit from those internally generated funds. And so the challenge will be, where would they get that money to pay so much for electricity? Now, as some of the previous speakers said, a lot of things happening in the hospital depend on the electricity, communication. People are in the theater, cesarean section, operations. And so if they don't have that and the hospital shut down, what will happen? That will mean that the patients, Ghanaians, will suffer. So it is something that the government has to look at and address this effectively. Because in a hospital without water, just imagine, it will be a big challenge. That means there will be a lot of transfer of infection, and a lot of people will come to hospital because they don't have adequate water to maintain hygiene. And so my suggestion is that the government should prioritize payment of electricity bills for hospitals so that they can deliver quality health service for the people, especially for the women and children who are mostly affected during labor and all the challenges. I think this is something that the government might take up the responsibility for.
Madam Seno, it does look like government is bent on this. Well, there are negotiations to see if government can step down, because the explanation is that ECG is indebted and they have to also run their operations. How do you suggest the hospitals go about this directive to ensure they do not struggle?
I think that we need to prioritize health, because if you are serving the people and people are dying, and we are putting a lot of resources into other things, I think that we should reconsider our priorities as a country. Now, the whole world, globally, everybody is talking about universal health coverage. Our minister has been on the forefront of talking about it and promoting it. And if hospitals will have to start using their internally generated fund to pay electricity while people are dying, I don't think that is good for the country. So I think the government should reconsider this and come into the aid of the hospitals and clear this. We don't need to wait for bills to increase and we start struggling. We need to really prioritize this, because I don't know how much hospitals make from internally generated fund. And I know many patients come to hospital and still sitting in the hospital because they are unable to pay their bills. And so we need to look at this. The social support, the national health insurance. We need to really, really prioritize the health of the nation and the people that we serve. So my plea is that the government should look at it. We are talking about stronger health systems. A lot of investment is going into our health systems. How do we really make sure that all these challenges are addressed? As a country, we are over 50 years independent. So I think that the government, the health minister, and all the technocrats who are in the health sector to sit down and consider this and appeal to the government. Patients are going to be at the receiving end. Just imagine that one cesarean session you are charging 600. What is 600 now in Ghana? It's inadequate. And so the resources are simply not there. And we are going to put a lot of pressure on the hospitals, and a lot of them will abandon the work that they're supposed to do. And whilst they are doing improvising, then quality health service is going to suffer. And so the government must consider and take up the responsibility of paying for electricity in the hospital so that they can do their work adequately.
I'm grateful for your time. Cecilia Seno is board member, Global Fund, and CEO of Hope for Future Generation. Hopefully, government will listen to these pleas. Meanwhile, Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has directed, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament has directed Health Committee to collaborate with the power providers and the Ministry of Energy to deal with the issue.
I'm happy to hear that power has indeed been restored to the facility. But I think I will direct that the Ministry of Health and that of Energy should work together to find a lasting solution with regards to our hospitals in relation to their electricity bills. Because hospitals, whether you like it or not, are considered to be essential facilities, and they should not experience power cuts in whatever form. So I would direct that the Ministry of Energy and Ministry of Health should put themselves together and come out with a solution as to how this electricity bills, because today's time that has come up, but listening to contributors, it appears it cuts across most of the hospitals in the country. And again, based on the recommendation, we will refer this statement to the Health Committee to also look into the matter.
Away from Parliament, the National Democratic Congress is committing to instituting regulations that will enable chiefs participate in the protection of forests in the country. Flag bearer John Dramani Mahama explains the present order, where the Forestry Commission has absolute responsibility, has proven ineffective. According to him, there's the need for stringent measures to protect the remaining 18 and 37 forest reserves. The former president is on a tour of the Western North region. Nanaya Ojima has been with him and has filed this report.
The Building Ghana tour by John Mahama was well received by the people of the Western region. After a meeting with party officials, the former president made a stop at the Rioso Palace to pay a courtesy call on the traditional authority. Chief of Rioso, Katechi Kwesi Bumangama II, bemoaned the fast depletion of forests.
Aneno na kwaye no ehya ahemfonsa. Ene di forestry yibaye ana forest no agu. Say ye forest agu. Yes, ye wo forest officers a omhwe kwaye. Omanfo mo amam krankeye. Enti ende president oba unya kwaye bia mfa enka wasemu say ye wo kwaye. Ye ni kwaye. Kakra no so aka no so omugusu se no. Intim de masem hia me say oba no. Sa no man am pese wo address my.
The Western North region hosts some of Ghana's rich forest reserves, but illegal logging and irresponsible mining are causing a fast depletion of the forests. Mr. Mahama, who is alarmed at the devastation, is proposing legislation that will give traditional authorities some supervision over forest reserves.
Yeba, ya pese ye ne nananom etena se. Ne hwe se ne betimi aye aboho ban. Menim se forest ne adwuma o mo hwe so. But I was here to me shemre bi beba nananom any forest for no ene be was to be no se o mo hwe kwaye no so. Em se yes sir ebema yetimi abo kwaye no ho ban chen se aban adwuma enfo kwa ene hwe. Eto de bia omo ankasa ene omo say kwaye no ene ye Canada ekotwa ndua no anase omoko 2 gold ewo.
The traditional authority expressed worry at the waning power of traditional office. He wants the next NDC government to restore lost authority.
Politicians no maji to me na free ensem. Maji to me na free ensem. Say say ye ni ahodin bia. Ene ye besama obi kura wa himfie Utimi chama nim ka je yemfa men kokot. Na kan no utimi nkansa. Nti se ye wura so samba bi mu ya. Ye ko National House of Chiefs na ye ka. And on some for you 2 min mai. On for you 2 min mai. Na so the 2 min mai dia. And ya him fu nyina ba be dinachi.
The former president responded to the request at a town hall meeting later in the day.
Say about sa constitutional review na yes no. Ye beto aso na say ye frɛ nipa dodo na ahemfo bɛka ho na yen na bɛkyerɛ adwen em say ho ɛna asɛm a woka yi ɛwɔ sɛ ye chim constitution no na yetimi de hyem if you say the hyem a obi ntimi nkɔ Supreme Court ɛnkɔka sɛ de bi ɔhene ni kwan sɛ ɔbɛfrɛ me ana bibi sɛ o constitution mu de a ɛne ɛkyerɛ sɛ
the tour of the Western North region continues on Thursday. For Joy News, Nanaya Ochima, Western North region.
Meanwhile, the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has reiterated his commitment to institute a housing scheme for teachers if voted into power. This, he says, will enable teachers to access proper accommodation upon retirement. Other professions with similar housing schemes will also receive the support. He was speaking at a town hall meeting in Nsawara in the Western North region. Education Minister Dr. Osei Aweduchum has touted the achievement of his ministry in placing 95% of 2023 junior high school graduates into various senior high schools despite challenges encountered during the school placement process. According to the minister, 81% of students were automatically placed into their selected schools, with 19% depending on self-placement. Addressing the press after giving an account of his achievement at the Ashanti Regional House of Chiefs General Meeting, the minister says the enrollment made this year has become the highest recorded over the years. Nana Boachi Adam has the rest of the story.
The last general meeting of the Ashanti Regional House of Chiefs, chaired by the Asante Hene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, invited the Education Minister Osei Aweduchum to give an account of government's achievements in the sector. Several issues were addressed by the minister, including challenges with the 2023 SHS placement. Admitting to the challenges, the Education Minister, Dr. Osei Aweduchum, says 95% of JHS graduates have been successfully placed into various schools, the highest in history.
We've had a great opportunity of boosting the placement of students. You know, over the years, when you do the release, you may have about 30% of students not getting a school, and they have to go to the self-placement portal to look for a school. This year, we were able to do 81% automatic placement. These are students who received the schools of their choice, and then we're only left with about 19% of students who have to go to the portal and look for a school. So there has been a vast improvement. In fact, we've been able to place 95% of all the students who qualified to be placed, a major accomplishment this year.
According to him, the government is committed to improving the educational sector.
We have new high schools under construction, science labs are being built in existing schools. Our WASI scores across the country we know has improved under Nana Danko Akufo-Addo. Literacy rate, which used to be 2% for primary 2 students in 2015, is now 38%. There's no doubt that we're seeing a major transformation. STEM education has been given a great boost.
The Asante Hene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, however, charged chiefs to inspect the educational infrastructure and its progress in their communities.
English and mathematics were mu computerized
The minister has explained everything to us, including the issues concerning the school placement. He has said a lot. What we have to do as chiefs is to also inspect the infrastructural projects in our communities. It is our duty to do so.
So one
particular thing that came up during the meeting with the education minister is the whole conversation surrounding the cancellation of the teacher licential exam, which was brought up by the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama. Well, the Asante was quite particular about this whole conversation surrounding the cancellation of the teacher licential examination. The education minister highlighted the importance of this whole teacher licential examination. He calls for a non-partisan dialogue in addressing the concerns. From the National House of Chiefs Auditorium, my name is Nana Boachi Dankwa Yadom, Kumase.
Friends and families of late astute lawyer Akoto Ampaw are reliving memories of his life, as some describe him as a man of principle and diligence who lived for the good of others. In less than 24 hours to his burial, friends and families of the late Akoto Ampaw gathered to relive his fond memories. The remembrance service, which took place at the National Theatre last night, saw tributes from many who described the astute lawyer as a man of principle who lived his life for the good of others. My colleague James Aveji was at the event and has filed this report.
Born Anthony Yao Akoto Ampaw in 1950 in Lolobi, Sheshe, as he was later called in life, was one of a generation who cut the niche for himself in the practice of law. His political activism started in his days at the University of Ghana, where he joined the National Affairs Discussion Group in 1979, a group which later evolved into the New Democratic Movement and later joined Jerry John Rawlings's PNDC for the 31st December Revolution in 1981. For a man who was loved by many, friends and family have gathered here at the National Theatre to painfully relive some fond memories they hold of him 2 days to his burial. Comrade and close ally to lawyer Ampaw, Kwesi Pratt Jr. says he was the fine brain behind most of the alota that caused positive change in the early days.
And indeed, my way, I can again say that in spite of the information which is available in the public about who did what and so on, Sheshe was the engine of Alliance for Change. Again, he wrote more than 90% of all the statements we issued, including those who were read by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Fondled her memory and love like a long-lost and now new-found heirloom worth the premium value of my soul.
Sheshe was a man who close relatives say knew how to make time for friends and family, and his special fufu and ibunubunu delicacy despite the load of work. Princess Fatia Nkrumah described him as an uncle whose love for them shone brightest in their darkest moments.
In the whirlwind of his workaholic life, Uncle Shay still found time to be present for each and every one of us.
Lawyer Akoto Ampaw was also a member of the legal team who stood in Akufo-Addo's corner in the 2012 and 2020 election petitions.
And I'm putting it to you further that you are not, the petitioner is not entitled to any of the reliefs.
Partner and head of chambers at the Akufo-Addo & Co., where Akoto Ampaw practiced for many years, Alex Queno recounts his contribution to the success of the chamber.
He actually gave his work to some of us who were about 10 years in age junior, but who happened to be seniors, to vet his work. But soon he was the person to go to, the junior lawyers in particular, to take their work to him to vet, because he will research it. He will not accept anything that you just put on paper. In fact, the juniors in the office, they were always wondering when you'll be a rich man. Because pro bono was his mainstay. It's strange to say this. Pro bono work was Mr. Akoto Ampaw's mainstay. Not charging fees. He didn't know how to charge. Let's put it this way. He didn't know how to charge. So he would just say, "Oh, take it."
Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Tokonu describes him as one who had impacted most lawyers in the legal fraternity.
As a lawyer in the courtroom, his processes were always well researched, well articulated, and relevant. Even in the shortest application, when Mr. Akoto Ampaw spoke, there was good reason to speak, and what he said added to the proceedings.
He was one of those who played instrumental role in the passage of the RTI bill into law. From the National Theatre here in Accra, my name is James Abeji for Joy News.
But when we are done, may our footprints inspire many more.
Back to you. Let's take a break. When we return, we'll bring you business.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Inflation fell significantly to 26.4% in November 2023 from 35.2% recorded in October. According to figures from the Ghana Statistical Service, food inflation was a major contributor to the decline in the rate of inflation. Food inflation dropped by 12.6% to 32.2% in November 2023. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobneni.
For November 2023, the consumer price index stood at 198.2 relative to 156.8 that was recorded for the same time in November 2022. Consumer price index for the month of November 2023 stood at 198.2 relative to 156.8. Given these two indices for November 2022 and November 2023, year-on-year inflation for the month of November 2023 stood at 26.4. Year-on-year inflation for the month of November 2023 stood at 26.4%. This 26.4% signifies an 8.8 percentage point drop relative to the rate of inflation that was recorded for October 2023. In October 2023, rate of inflation stood at 35.2, and given the rate of inflation for November 2023, 26.4, we have seen an 8.8 percentage point difference between the year-on-year inflation for October 2023 and November 2023. This literally means that between the month of November 2022 and November 2023, general prices of goods and services went up by 26.4%. Between the month of November 2022 and November 2023, prices of goods and services went up by 26.4%. Month-on-month inflation, that is between October 2023 and November 2023, stood at 1.5%, signifying a 0.9 percentage point increase relative to the rate that was recorded in October 2023. In October 2023, we saw a decline from 1.9% to 0.6%. This decline that we saw from September to October 2023 has been reversed by a 0.9 percentage point increase between October 2023 and November 2023. From a trend perspective, we analyze the year-on-year inflation for November 2023 over a 13-month period, that is November 2022 to November 2023, and same is done for monthly inflation on a trend perspective for the 22-month period, that is November 2022 to November 2023. Since November 2022, we've seen the sharpest decline in year-on-year inflation over the 13-month period, with the sharpest decline recording a change of 8.8 percentage points between October 2023 and November 2023. For the fourth time in a row, we continue to see a decline in year-on-year inflation. Inflation started slowing down from July 2023. It slowed down to 40.1%, further slowed down to 38.1% and 35.2% for the month of September and October 2023, respectively. And for the month of November 2023, we've seen the steepest drop over the 13-month period.
Now, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, is asking commercial banks to invest in cybersecurity to safeguard their operations from any attacks. According to the governor, cyber attacks have been a threat to the financial sector and called for swift intervention. He was speaking at the launch of GCB Bank PLC's recoded mobile app.
The GCB recoded banking application delivers superior customer experience through its superbly enhanced features and great benefit. The enhanced GCB mobile app replaces the current one and comes with more exciting features. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, reiterated the central bank's commitment to provide a good regulatory environment.
Currently, the most unbanked and undeserved or underserved segments of our population have experienced some form of formal fund transfers and payments made possible through mobile technology. Thus, with the use of such innovative payment platforms and services, banks can provide safe, easy, and cheaper financial services for the unbanked and the underbanked in society. But ladies and gentlemen, in all these technologies is the presence of cyber and information technology risks, which, if not adequately managed, could outweigh all the benefits that technological advancements present to the industry. Cyber risks, including cyber attacks and data breaches, are prevalent, and customers who use such digitized products are also increasingly wary of fraudsters and scammers. To this end, banks must improve on their cybersecurity infrastructure to enhance resilience against such cyber attacks.
Managing Director for GCB Bank PLC, John Kofi Adomakun, said the bank remains focused on delivering improved value to its customers.
Private sector, government workers, professionals, it's an amazing app.
Will you say this will put you ahead in the digital space in the banking sector?
Look, going ahead in the
digital bank when it comes to digitalization.
Going ahead in the digital space or leading the digital landscape in Ghana is not only about putting an app in place, okay? And that's why we talk about the investment we are making in our digital infrastructure will all go to complement in making us the leading bank in the digital space. The way we will integrate our digital platforms with other platforms. We're the largest bank in terms of customers, retail customers. We have by far the largest retail customer base. It's how we optimize it.
Right, and that's it for this segment. Sports is up next. Stay tuned. Let's do sports now with me, Haruna Mubarak. Now, former Ghana international guest Nahimfu believes the Black Stars can win next year's Africa Cup of Nations with only adequate preparation. The country has not won the title since 1982, but preparations seem to have hit a snag as the GFA is yet to submit the team's campaign plans to the Sports Ministry with about 4 weeks left for the continental event. Ahimfo urges the FA to act as quickly as possible.
Yesterday, I think I was reading, and then the deputy minister of sports was saying, as of now, he's not received the program for the Black Stars as to where they are going to camp preceding to the Nations Cup. If that is the case, then I will entreat the FA to, as quickly as possible, put that up. I am sure by now they know where they are going to camp the team. I think it should be made public so that whatever we can do to help them also we do. But once again, it's up to the coach who is in charge of the team to select the best materials that we have available and put them together, because it's not only selecting the players, but blending them together to have a good team is what we are looking at.
All right. You mentioned about putting them together. I know you've seen some in the past, and then you will see more at AFCON. But how do you rate the chances of the Black Stars heading into Ivory Coast?
It's a tournament. In football, everything is possible. We just have to prepare well. I think though the 20-something countries partaking in the tournament, everybody is coming there to win. Or everybody wants to come there to come and have a piece of the cup. And so we just have to prepare and prepare well. It's the AFCON. The group stages is different from the knockout stages. So the progression is what we have to look at. If we go and then we start well, I believe that the sky will definitely be the limit.
Now, former Hearts of Oak midfielder Stephen Appiah has called on current players to stop relying on the club's pedigree and showcase more of their quality following their dismal start to the season. The Phobians have struggled in the ongoing campaign and now sit in 9th place with just 2 points above the relegation zone. Appiah believes they can turn things around with a change of mindset. Lawrence Beidou has more.
The former Hearts of Oak midfielder says the club has fallen from its glory days, adding that it's high time the players show their quality at the club. The Phobians have struggled in the last 2 seasons since winning the league. The board has also sacked 3 different coaches in that run. The club has won just 3 games in 14 fixtures in the Ghana Premier League this season, losing 4 in the process, with the latest being the defeat to Asante Kotoko last Sunday. Speaking to Joy Sports, Ampaw, who played for the Accra-based side between 1995 and 1997, called on the current crop of players to prove their worth on the pitch.
The situation, I mean, the crowds of folk that we know is not what we're seeing today. I mean, they are finding it difficult to win games that we think that they will win. So, but we have to know something, that today football is football. Gone are the days where you have only 2 or 3 teams. I mean, Kotoko crowds of folk that they have all the best players, so you will see them winning and winning. But this day we have teams like Mahama, you have other clubs who are doing so well. So it's very, very competitive, and then they should know that, I mean, going on the pitch is not about a cry as of folk, it's about what you do on the pitch. So I think that's what the team is lacking.
Hearts currently sit 9th on the league table with 16 points from a possible 42 available. They are also out of the MTN FA Cup after losing to Nania FC. Hearts face Nations FC in their next league game.
That's your sports on JN Today. My name is Harun Obarak. Up next is World News.
And it's time to check out what's making headlines elsewhere. Tanzanian student initially reported to have been taken hostage by Hamas in Israel is confirmed to have been killed. Tanzania's government says Joshua Molel was working as an agricultural intern at the kibbutz, which was attacked by Hamas gunmen on October 7. Tanzania's foreign minister says Mr. Molel was killed immediately after he was taken hostage. Fellow student Clemens Felix Ntenga was also killed in the attack. Loitu Molel, Joshua's father, has been notified about the death of his son, the minister adds. We are planning to take Mr. Molel, another family member and a government official to Israel to get more information on the matter, Mr. Makamba posted on X, formerly Twitter. The Molel family has not yet commented. In a Facebook post, authorities in Kibbutz Nahal hospital said Mr. Molel's body was being held by Hamas. The 2 Tanzanian students had traveled to Israel just a month before the October 7 attack. It was initially reported they were among the 240 people taken hostage by Hamas. And it's time now for showbiz. I'm sure we are all in the know about the upcoming singing marathon challenge, which is being undertaken by Ifwa Santua Dunum. I'm super excited to inform you that Joy Prime will be giving exclusive coverage for the singathon, and through the entire period, we'll hold viewers down on our social media platforms on Joy Prime. That is Facebook, YouTube, and X. We are the only media house who would have exclusive access to the inner perimeter where the singing challenge will be happening. So stick and stay with us for up-to-speed details on Ifwa Santua's Singathon. And as I wrap up a showbiz this afternoon, and that also ends the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjournline.com. There's more you can find there, an update of all the developing stories. Up next is Marketplace with Daryl Kwao. Enjoy the rest of our programs.